development from Reno to Susanville. I'm talking about controlled development. It's good community development.
You're on a lot of boards.
I
You're
am.
going to have time and not hurt your family.
I'm going to have to drop. If I'm elected, I'm going to have to drop some.
Because that's one thing that concerns me. You know,
Yes.
you may be the greatest manager in the world,
Yes.
but if you're trying to stir too many pots, you got a family, and I want to see you keep them. And
Well,
so I'm asking you right up front.
Me also. But Dr. Hall knows, and we've already talked about it, that they're going to have to appoint somebody for my position on the college.
I'm Jarrett Alina, businessman here in Susanville. What you mentioned how you have a new vision, pro-growth vision, and you want to tackle opportunities aggressively.
Yes.
But what do you see on the horizon? What do you see? What's the pulse right now? We've talked a lot about opportunities lost, missed, or mistakes made in the past. But okay, what have you learned from that? What do you see on the horizon, though? And you want to answer that, you can too.
And Jack can answer, we probably don't have the same answer on this. That runway out there at Burlington is the biggest diamond in this county. And the county has a donut, it's Jack's own words, of property around that runway. And you can build private infrastructure on that, but you can't build private infrastructure on the federal government side. And so we need to really build a relationship with Sierra Army Depot. As Jack said, it's an incredible amount of commerce going in and out of there. We need to really reinforce that relationship, build it, run with those guys, and I don't see that effort being done. And I will make that effort if I'm elected. I will make that effort to build a relationship with those guys.
Jack, you have any vision for that?
Well, vision, or maybe it'd be to articulate there the challenges I think we see for economic development. I mean, economic development has been a buzzword around the county for a long time, and it's been very difficult to achieve, and obviously your family's aware of it. I think that there are a couple of issues. One is a more global issue, and it may seem as though I'm making excuses or something like that, but I don't think so, and I think it can be proved out with facts as well. There is a general migration out of rural America in towards the cities. And the only areas that are able to, if you will, push the tide against this migration are, one, the agricultural industry in the Midwest and so on and so forth, that it continues to bring prosperity to that area. And secondly, if you're a destination resort. We all know that the Tahoe real estate values are now higher than they were before the 07 crash. And so consequently, Tahoe's recovered. Sun Valley, Idaho's recovered beautifully. I mean, there's all kinds of money floating around there. We all know about the Bay Area successes, and Sacramento's growing. And now I think the occupancy rate, or the vacancy rate in Reno's getting down substantially this summer. They're seeing a good turnaround. So I think there are those areas that are drawing. But I think our biggest challenge is trying to get somebody who wants to do business or wants to live in California. Remember, there's just that imaginary line, not an imaginary, there's that line out there, and that's the state border. And you can go to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Park, and they will give you the land, they'll give you the railhead, they'll give you, what's the program they have over there, their tax incentive program they have?
The one they gave Cabela's.
Pardon me?
The one they gave Cabela's.
Yeah, the one they gave Cabela's. It's a 5-star, yeah, it's a 5-star program. So, and we all know about the tax structure in Nevada versus here. We know that Nevada is among the top 5 states to do business. California is among the bottom 5. Lassen County is unique in our ability to try and attract business. Residents, no, we can sure try and do a better job there. The business is awful hard for us. And so those would be my only statements on it. It doesn't mean we stop looking for, to attract business. And I agree with Tom, the airport, it's been a shining star out there. We have what's called a co-use authority that was put together by my predecessor and others when they were putting together the going through the BRAC process and putting together the properties. And that co-use authority allows us to use that facility when and if we want to. We do not exercise the co-use authority. Why? Because we would have to share in the maintenance of the runway. Until we have a customer or an industrial base out there, we don't want to share in the maintenance.
Okay, let's see. Gentleman in the back. I'm going to switch around and get some. Doctor? Go
I
ahead.
just have one question for the both of
Would
you.
you please identify yourself?
I'm Dr. Hall, I'm the president of Hanson
Thank you.
College. I just have one question. We talked about economic, and I said I wasn't going to say anything. It's
hard to do. Now, come on.
But we talked about economic development. What about workforce development? I haven't seen anything in any of our plans that said, okay, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what are going to be the jobs in Lassen County? And as a selfish, from a college point of view, we would like to know that so we can start providing programs where we can train these people for these jobs in Lassen County. And that, to me, that brings growth. And I'm just asking the both of you, what are your visions on that?
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Hall, you know, I'll be honest with you, we do get a little stagnant, and I would certainly admit to that. And when we're looking out into the future a little bit, trying to define what jobs are going to be out there 20 years from now. Personally, I'm not a very technically literate individual, so I can't see exactly how the rec and tech that Tom's outfit is sponsoring. I don't know how that's going to fit exactly, but I think that that's going to be a great opportunity for private entrepreneurs to be here. And as far as job demand and job training, I think we have to look at resource-based jobs. I think we have to continue to look at our firefighting issues that we do a good job with. I think Tom's on the college board. He's probably much more well-versed than I am in this.
Well, he's heard me say this.
Yeah, well, and you know, certainly anything to do in the criminal justice field obviously feeds into the current jobs we have. Your agricultural programs, I think, are very, very useful for a lot of the students that come back to the local farms and ranches here, let alone the ones that go out and prosper elsewhere through that discipline. I think the biggest challenge for the college continues to be, and again, boy, I'm really, in front of you two, I'm humbled to even be saying anything because I don't know all the numbers. But it's getting local kids to go to that college for 2 years to matriculate onto a 4-year college. And that's why the junior college, for me anyway, when it was created back when I was going to school, that's why it was there. It was there to give you that cheap, wonderful education that was going to get you into Berkeley or Stanford or UCLA or whatever it may be. So I still think that should be the focus, even with job prospects around here.
Okay, we have another question.
Please.
All right, Tom, you want to get? Go
Well,
ahead.
in our co-meeting with the high school board, Dr. Hall, you well know that they were focusing on 10% of the students. They're letting the other 90% slip through the cracks, the 10% being the ones that were destined for college, which upset me. We have no vocational programs for these kids that aren't going to be going to college to succeed. And as you well know, we've been working on that Furlong Ag program where we can train people to work on the pivot systems and to read the GPSs and fix the GPSs and maintain the systems. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that that the college should be the leader on, and we should be the leader on. I don't know how the county can help that, but
Partnerships are always great in
Yeah.
this situation.
Yeah.
If I might make a comment, to private industry investment, there used to be here 3 mills and logging all over the country. We all know that the environmental agencies, the environmental movement, has cut this community down as it has, and therefore the rural shrink that we have all over the country, over the Midwest. To me, the movement has to be for the counties on the road systems and on the Forest Service system, participating in those meetings, pushing them back. I've seen in Montana today in the Range magazine how they did a nice forest health work over millions of acres. Okay? Over here, what they didn't do is burn it up. Over here, no fire. Amazing concept. Putting mills back to work out of forest health. And that would be a push for the county to be back on the Forest Service and the federal people to take care of the forest in a way that's environmentally sound, and no fires. You know, we've got the 5th season here in our deal. Spring, summer, fall, winter, and the fire season. We have smoke, just like Montana, lots of other states. I think as I'm my new supervisor, I want someone who's going to push for that, and I haven't seen that in the past.
Steve?
Jack, I got it. Yep. How has the county failed to use or to find the resources that are available? And by that I mean, like, back in the early 2000s and so, we had blight money. And all the other cities got blight money. But the county here never got any blight money. So never did we have one penny of all this state money. We have our loan fund, a revolving loan fund. I've been here 30 years. The first time I tried to get one of my clients a loan, we employs about 36 employees. The money's available, but we've been working on the loan for 3 years. And the companies had to go other places to get the money. But the money is available at the county level. Do you think, how are you going to fix the Board of Supervisors to go out and find things available to this community that they have totally let go? When the president came, we could have been an enterprise zone, which would be better in taxes and taxation than Nevada. It would make more sense to locate in California. But yet nobody asked for us to be an enterprise zone. Redding's got one, Red Bluff has one, I think Anderson has one, but nobody's asked. There seems to me to be a real failure on the board's part to get out and get educated. So what do you see? These are questions that I'm asking. What do you see? How did the board miss all this stuff?
Whether you're talking about the grants and the loans, some of the existing programs, we've had some successes, not as many as we'd like. We've had a lot of change in personnel. That's not necessarily a reason. Steve, as far as enterprise zones, I'll be honest with you, I'm not that well versed in enterprise zones, so I can't answer that question specifically.
Steve, can you explain what an enterprise zone is?
I wasn't here when any one of the 3 prisons was proposed.
It's basically a zone that gets all these incentives from the state of California in taxes. And basically, you can eliminate all your taxes.
Why would a prison, just out of curiosity,
Because
why
the
would
prison
that?
pays no property taxes.
That's correct,
And so
absolutely.
there's no base.
That's our greatest issue.
And there's no base there to keep the kids in school. There's no funding. There's no property taxes coming in from that business.
That's correct.
So they would make it into an enterprise zone to bring businesses in here to alleviate the void that the prison has caused. And if the prison was on the tax roll, it would be $500 million, $1 billion. I have no idea. But it's not. So we need to bring in private enterprise to replace that.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
But it's totally been missed. I mean, what are you going to do?
Steve, there are other super. I mean, I'm not the only supervisor. Obviously, I'm one of 5, and I know you're close friends with a couple of them. I mean, bring it up to us. I'd be happy to look into it tomorrow. I'll start looking into it. But I quite frankly don't know about it.
All right, let's move on.
Enterprise zone.
All right, Carol.
Yes, I would like
Yeah.
to know why more effort hasn't gone into developing the recreational opportunities around here. You know, like horseback riding, you know, like maybe canoe rental or boat rentals on the lakes. You know, we could be a vacation destination here with all, you've got the desert on one side
Right.
with the wild horses and everything. I mean, trail rides and things like that. And I was wondering why that would bring additional revenues into the county, and I was just wondering why nobody makes any effort to get the.
I think
know we have
LADC is working on that, Carol, obviously, and we've just developed another trail along the south trail along Susan River. I think that trails are truly the emphasis, whether it be horseback riding or bikes or hiking. And our outdoors is a great draw. I mean, I live and work outdoors, and I love it. That's why I'm
Well, I
here.
mean, we have the Eagle Lake Challenge, we've got that 26-mile marathon. From
Yeah, the Eagle Lake
and why-
Challenge
why-
kind of came and went.
Yeah.
A lot of that's private industry too. I mean, boat rentals and so on. I don't know if the county hasn't branched off into that much. But I think that's up to the last Economic Development Councils, the Alinas are on that, and other families as well. So I think they're great ideas. I think outdoor recreation, that is where we're moving in the future.
Well, yeah, because you can have a cross-country skiing in the winter.
In fact, they're going to be upgrading the MoDOT line here. They've got a plan, last and later trails for us to upgrade the MoDOT line, make it a little more visitor friendly. Yeah.
John?
Everett, question, John Everett again. When I was president of the West Patton Village CSD out in Furlong, Joe Batati and I and his crew, we went and walked every house in Title IX, West Patton Village, whatever we call it, and took pictures of every house, wrote down notations of things that were wrong with the houses, roof, windows, doors, not door heading. Went to Doyle, did the same thing. It was for $1 million grant that we put in for this Southwestern County for the low income. And it was worked hard on. I brought it to the board personally, got the board's blessing to move it forward. It came back at less money, $340,000. There was a footnote in a meeting one time, but to my knowledge, not one person has ever been able to apply for that money, and I want to know what happened to the money and why it wasn't there. I mean, I had four board members voted for it, including you. Chapman said no, which is normal, okay? I knew that was going to happen. We went forward, okay, on it. And the other grant that I put in at the same time was for West Patton Village for the lateral. And that was for $370,000 basically. We got $45,000 or whatever it was because of the way the rules are. We got new fire hydrants put in and new valves to cut off, turn on each street out there, which is very much appreciated. So we were able to use part of it. Just because you ask for $1 million don't mean you're going to get $1 million. Ask for $370 don't mean you're going to get it. But if you don't ask, you don't receive anything. What we asked, we received. There's no money out there yet.
That's correct. There were some legal issues with that. I can't take responsibility for them, nor can I'm sorry about it. There were some legal issues out there. They got it. They got the legal issues cleaned up. We got the grant extended. And those are not grants, though. It's a grant to the county, but when it goes out, it's a loan. It's a low-interest loan. And so, you know, we use the terms grants and loans a lot, and I think there's been some confusion. The money is still there. We're going to roll it out. Jenna has done some pre-app. We've got some pre-applications already, and we're going to be rolling that out next month or so.
My point is, Jack, you personally is our supervisor for that area. And so I think that you personally, as our supervisor, should have been digging in. Where is this at? Why isn't it up front? Because this is your people that we went out. Joe Patati and Nikki Cunningham and the other lady, we all went out and worked hard to get all the paperwork in and get it approved. Then the money comes in, and you as our supervisor, I believe, should have said, there's legal issues on it. You go to your legal counsel and say, hey, we need to get this dug into. That was almost a year and a half ago when you got the money, March. Okay, it was March 2011. Okay, if I remember right, it's July 2013.
I don't think we got the money in March, but anyway, you're
March
right.
or April was when it was brought up on the board and said that this much of a grant of $1 million had been there, and that was a footnote basically, and then nobody followed through. And that was just like the veterans thing. Nobody followed through. He said, okay, go and do it. But
I personally went around and got some pre-applications on that.
All right. So that's, but you know, if he becomes my supervisor, okay, if he beats you in a couple weeks, he's my supervisor. And if he doesn't answer, I'll be right on him. I know where he lives. Okay, he won't get away.
I don't hide where I live either. You can find me too.
Okay, you know, in essence of time, let's give
both gentlemen a chance to kind of make a closing statement, and we'll go on with the balance of our meeting. We appreciate, again, your attendance, I appreciate your questions, and possibly both of them will stay afterwards to answer questions for you. But we normally conduct our meeting within an hour. We're going to go over tonight, and we're going to keep it, within reason. Jack, go ahead. Closing
Well, I
statement.
agree with Tom. It's not personal, believe me. I saw TJ, 2 weeks ago, something like that. We talked about it. Anyway, Tim, thank you very much for having us here. I think it's an excellent forum, and as I said, I'm looking forward to continuing to serve out my term, but it's at the will of the people. So,
And we thank you for coming.
Okay.
And your family.
yes, I should have introduced my wife, Darcy's here, my mother-in-law, Bernice, my father-in-law, Frank, and our 2 sons, Wyatt and Brad. And that's the extent of our family operation. So, not the Haggertons, but the Hanson family.
Well, however this election comes out, Jack, we really want to push this thing forward. If I don't win this election, I'll be right at your side trying to push our communities forward. I do have one question that's kind of been bothering me that I need to ask you. This general plan, when was the last major amendment that we had in our general plan?
Last major amendment?
Yeah.
We've updated the elements periodically. Obviously, the housing elements you got to update every 5 years. We've done that. We obviously amended it for the Dyer Initiative. I almost have to look behind me. I don't think, Tom, that we've had a major amendment.
Don't you think that it would behoove us to amend that general plan in the Sierra Army Depot region?
We have a town center plan we did down there.
Yes,
That's
I know,
a-
but I mean, you're still at
Mary's
3 acre
plan.
minimums and that stuff. You can't, I don't know, can you split lots there now? To split a lot in this county is horrific. I went through it at the Mark.
I know you did.
And, I had to pay an archaeologist to come and walk Old Highway 395, which the county could have waived that.
I agree with you on that.
And it's just stuff like that that drives your constituents nuts. And the people in Lassen County, we got to fix that stuff. It's got to get fixed if we're going to progress.
Well, the archaeologists, that's a,
I was under the impression that it could have been waived in the planning department.
I'm not aware, but I remember the incident. I'm not aware that it could have been.
Yeah, and it's just, that's my closing statement. I mean, we got to push together as a community to fix our problems. So, anybody has any questions for me?
Let's,
I do on the college, if I could ask on the college.
Yeah.
When I worked at the Lassen County Physical Credit Union, one of my employees went up to put in for one of the classes, but she couldn't do it because they had all the inmates from the prison had already signed up. Now, how are you going to get any people if you don't make it? You are still up there.
Has changed.
Then are you going to do anything about this? Where maybe we will get some of our people, students in there instead of all the people from the prison on your classes.
Ever since I was on that board, one of the reasons why I ran for that board is because my wife ran into some of the same issues. And the immediate thing that we did was try to fix the counseling office. Now, when we hired Dr. Hall, what was our instructions? Face-to-face. You're not going to face-to-face in prison. So we want face-to-face instruction on that college, and that's a high priority for that board and for Dr. Hall.
There's plenty of room.
Excuse me, no, go right ahead, please. I went to the state fair. Every county out of the 52 counties had a beautiful display and had reasons why people ought to come to their county. Did you ever know who's not there? Lassen County doesn't even show up.
We were there 4 years ago. That's right. We haven't been there.
I don't care about
No,
4
I know.
years ago.
I
I
agree.
care about getting somebody to come here today, spend their money, and get the roads plowed, get us some education in schools that we can be proud of, pay into the county and the cities, if you will, coffers, instead of waving goodbye to the community leaders that pick up their business and leave because they can't get an ag guy that I know come here and spent $14 million. And you know what he told me? He said the ag office only open 1 hour a day, Bill, and he said try to get a permit for a pivot. Come to our county and try to get an ag permit for a pivot and see what it's
We
like
permit
to
pivots?
deal to
Do we
deal
permit
with
pivots?
this. Huh?
Do we permit pivots?
Yes.
No, we don't permit pivots.
That's agriculture, they shouldn't.
We don't permit pivots.
Am I correct?
We give you a well drilling permit, but there's no groundwater law in Madison County, so consequently you can go ahead and drill a well. We don't permit pivots.
Well, again, I want
But I'm aware.
to thank everybody for coming
My
tonight.
neighbor just told me.
Where were you guys?
We're going to have an
I'll
election
bring you
here.
the statistics.
Yeah.
Try to bring this to a close, please. We're going to have an election here. Regardless of the outcome of the election, there's a good attendance in here tonight. I think everybody means well. Let's push our county forward. If Jack remains our supervisor, let's all get together and work together. If Tom becomes one, the same thing. And let's not get into a physical fight, argument, and what have you. Let's move this county forward. We need to. I'm proud to be on the school board. I'm proud to be on the school board in Hurlon. It's a very small school. I'd like to tell you something. We have the highest per capita of graduates going to college of any school in the county. So, we're not so anyway, thank you again for coming. We'll call this meeting to a close. People want to stick around and ask questions, fine. If you have any questions regarding Congressman LaMalfa, I'm more than happy to answer them. I brought all my data with me of what's happened for the last month. So thank you again, folks.